Brand deals for podcasters. This is what you've got to get right before you sign anything. If a brand were to offer you thousands of dollars for a podcast ad for them tomorrow, would you know what to look for before signing? Because most creators don't lose their money or make things bad for themselves by getting into lousy deals. They lose money by not understanding the deals they sign at all. And some of the most common terms in brand deals, well, they're designed to protect the brand, not you, the creator. So today I'm going to walk you through what actually matters in a podcast sponsorship agreement so you can get paid properly, protect your content, and avoid getting locked in to a bad deal. Hi there, I'm Gordon Firemark, the podcast lawyer. I'm an entertainment, media, and business attorney helping creators to build smarter, safer, more profitable businesses around their content. And if you are working with sponsors or planning to, this is an episode you don't want to skip. Here's what usually happens. A creator finally lands a brand deal. It feels like a win. They're excited and they are dying to say yes. They don't want to rock the boat. They just skim the agreement, maybe check that the payment number is what they agreed on, and they sign. But what they don't realize is that the real money, the real risk, and the real control is buried in the terms they didn't fully read or understand. So let's look at where things start to break down in these situations. You deliver the ad, you've done everything right, and payment doesn't show up. Why? Well, if you look, buried in that contract is language that'll say something like, well, we pay you after we receive payment from the sponsor. Usually this is with an advertising agency or an ad servicing company. So now you're not just a creator, but you're financing the deal for them. Or maybe you record a great ad read and then suddenly you find out your voice is showing up in all kinds of paid ads you never agreed to. Or worse, you're locked out of working with any other brands in the same category for months or years. These aren't rare situations. No, they happen all the time. So here's the shift that I want you to make. If you treat brand deals like lucky opportunities, then you'll take whatever you're offered. But if you are running a business and you have that mindset, you'll structure deals that work for you. Because this isn't just about getting paid, but it's about building something sustainable. So let's break down some of the key terms you need to understand before you sign any kind of brand or sponsorship deal. First off, obviously, is the payment terms. When do you actually get paid? Watch out for things like net 30 or net 60 terms, or we pay when we get paid provisions. What you should be pushing for is payment upon delivery or within a very defined, reasonable time frame, a date certain. So if that money doesn't come in, you know, they know they're in breach of contract. What about the deliverables? Well, what exactly are you agreeing to do? Maybe it's a certain number of ad reads, a certain length and placement, a certain number of revisions if they didn't like what you did. And if it's not clearly defined, then it's open-ended, and that is dangerous. You'll find yourself in an endless cycle of changes and revisions and redos and make goods and all that kind of thing. So be really careful about this. Make sure that the deliverables are clearly articulated and defined with precise contract language. Next up is usage rights. Now this is a big one. Can the brand reuse your content? And if so, when and for how long? In what media? On what social media? In paid ads? On their website? And how long is that going to last before they have to stop? If you don't limit this, then you're giving away more value than you realize. You should negotiate reuse fees in so that if they want to keep using your ad, they can, as long as they pay you, and you get paid that money up front. Next up is exclusivity. Are you restricted from working with any of the brand's competitors? And if so, for how long? Excuse me, and in what category? And how narrowly is that defined? You can quietly block out all your future income if you don't pay attention here. So be sure to know exactly what you are and aren't allowed to do and negotiate hard for these points. What about cancellation and kill fees? What happens if the brand cancels on you? Do you still get paid if you've already done the work? Maybe you've already recorded the ad into your episode and you've delivered. Well, they should be paying you for it, whether they decide to change gears or whatever. There should be very clear protections in your deal for this. And then there's liability and indemnification. Who's responsible if something goes wrong? Some agreements will try to push all of the risk onto you, the creator, and that's not something you should accept blindly. At the very least, the indemnification and warranty language should be mutual. You should be making promises back and forth to hold each other harmless and make sure they're made whole if there's a problem. Better yet, only promise not to, not to be negligent, not to be deliberately doing things that are going to break the agreement and limit your exposure there. Now, quick question for you. Have you ever signed a deal that has some of these onerous provisions I'm talking about, and then only realized later what you agreed to? Well, you are not alone. This is where most creators learn the hard way. So what happens if you don't understand these terms? Well, you'll get paid late or not at all. You might give away rights that you should have kept, like those reuse rights. You might limit your future opportunities in one of those exclusivity clauses. And you might end up taking on risks you really didn't intend and really shouldn't need to. And the frustrating part is you might not even realize it until it's too late and it's already happened. So let's take a step back here and talk about this. Brand deals are often the first real revenue that creators see. But they're not the end goal. No, they're just one piece of a larger business. If you are building something real, something sustainable, something that's going to survive without you being there to do content all the time, you're not going to just accept every deal that's put in front of you. No, you need to evaluate it. You negotiate the terms. You structure them to support your long-term growth. That's how you start thinking like a business owner, not just a content creator. And you know what? If you need help, reach out. People like me are here to do just that, to help you make sure that you are taken care of in the deals so you can plan for a larger business future. Now, if you want help getting this kind of thing right, I've also put together a collection of lawyer-drafted templates that you can use in your podcast business. You can find them at podcastlawforms.com. And if you want personalized guidance on your specific deal, like I said, reach out. Book a strategy session with me by going to firemark.com/consult20, consult 20, and we'll set up a consultation. So next time, we're going to be talking about something that might surprise you. Why growing your audience could actually be a trap. Because more listeners, more subscribers, more viewers doesn't always mean more income. And in some cases, it can actually make things worse. So I'm Gordon Firemark, and I'll see you next week, here on Legit Podcast Pro. Until then, keep on creating. Thanks for being with me.